prioritizing that. Yeah. Still a struggle, but putting the ritual in place has been the biggest thing, and that's becoming easier. And now it's just like being embodied with that judgment. I grew up in church. I was in dance. So
It's really nice to feel an intentional cultivating of Black queer artist community in Chicago and on the South Side specifically, because there is not enough investment in that.
I think that one of the hardest parts about being a Black queer artist is how much of your lineage gets lost because of who gets to make the canon, who gets to tell the stories. I think one of the intentions of Never So Free that I've really appreciated is to ground us in a lineage of Black queer space making and art making that can easily get lost, even as Black queer artists and space makers. We're so much more generative when we can be in the same space, sharing ideas and building something together. In Never So Free, I'm introduced to artists that I've never encountered in the city before, especially when I think about how genre and medium can sometimes keep artists away from one another.
Y'all are writers and movement people and singers, and I'm like, I would have never met, like we've never met yet.
I've never been in cohorts that are like art practice agnostic, and I actually think it's important to like be in conversation with people who are like not in the same practice as you, because it kind of like expands what you think is possible in your own art practice, honestly.
Artists do need their space and time to be in their little world and kind of like really dive into their own thinking and experiences in order to create. But I think I can speak for a lot of people, but certainly for myself, that is also fueled by interactions with other like-minded people.
I really love the energy and the spirit of the work that happens here, because people do the work that they do here because they care about it and they're passionate about it and they're invested in the people and the communities that are here.
In general, the arts community in Chicago, the thing that I really love is that it's always felt accessible. It's always felt open. It's always felt like people are interested and willing to collaborate. They're interested in learning about what you do. People show up for each other, I think. This is this is just my experience, but like everyone is like hustling and doing their thing and just like making incredible work.
Knowing someone on a deep artistic level is something that like takes time and like one-on-one time that you spend with someone.
It's definitely been nice to learn about other art spaces in Chicago, and just also to learn like about all of our communities, because we all know a lot of the same people just because it's like we are mainly artists from the South Side, but I think we all tap into different communities. Whether it be like Sisters in Cinema or Greystone or whatever. I think we all kind of have something to show one another, which is nice.
Also, I love the site visits to places that we've gone to, like the Greystone Collective and like Black Alphabet Space. Like
going to the Greystone was incredible because it's like I am getting to see somebody's art space. There is stuff on display, but it's also about the practice and like, how do they keep their room? What is in your mind as you are putting a space together for other people to collaborate in? Those are the kinds of conversations that I don't typically get to have, and I'm pretty grateful for Never So Free to being able to produce those experiences for us.
I'm like, feel very fed by the community here.
Everything that I've learned about the spaces that have existed in Chicago, it just makes the idea of sustainability more feasible. As a Black queer poet, when I can link back, when I can understand how those models came to be, what could be replicated in the future. When I think about the different salons that we've had, we've talked about lost spaces, we've talked about spaces that are kind of transient, that don't necessarily require one fixed space. It's having me think about the type of spaces that I want to create after Never So Free in order to continue to have this kind of cross-discipline, generative space. You know, generating work hasn't quite been the focus of what we've been doing. To me, I think the most powerful part about this cohort is the dreaming of what might come after when it comes to creating more spaces for Black queer artists across disciplines to gather, imagine, and create.
Imagination is like, you need that. Like, if you don't have that, then I feel like you could be just caught in like the mundaneness of just everyday life, but you have to be able, first you gotta be able to imagine it, because to me, that is the seed that then allows the gears to start moving to make it into reality.
And without the dream spaces to be able to push up against those harmful narratives that are limiting our idea of what's possible, without the spaces to be able to come together and push past and expand the window of the possible with one another, without being able to do that in our imagination, we'll never be able to have that in the physical material world.
And I think this is why Kemi's prompt is so important, because I feel cut off from my own imagination in a painful way right now. Our dreams are being taken away from us. Our ability to imagine things beyond what is being presented to us is being actively robbed. And asserting the dream space is not just about soothing, and is not just about comfort. It is about flexing. It is about building a muscle that we need to actually exert in this moment to be able to believe there is something beyond genocide. There is something beyond mass death. There is something beyond gentrification. There is something beyond displacement. There is something beyond just the myriad of bleak, destructive, soul-sucking things that we are just being inundated with.
If that's what's on my mind, I'm the one that has to help create that. And I think that a lot of people in Never So Free feel the same way, which is beautiful because we get to come together and talk about it and have 3 days to showcase it.
Whether it's like painting, video, installation, dance, movement, singing, like voice, everything has a role to play in the wider community thing.
And with everything just going on right now, it just felt right to just have something that could just be an experience and like also like be a sensory experience, but also like just feel good and feel light and feel free.
We're, as they always say, like we're in a very particular moment, and it's like, what's gonna be the next few months, and what will it be to be an artist, like creating work like in this moment too, I think is something that's really important.
It's a returning to, it's a forcing open rather than a escaping into.
I'm really charged by those interactions with people, and those spaces and the ability to interact with other people are created by programs like Never So Free, you know, and APL at large. So just grateful for the programming and this space being so accessible and being also very close to where I live. Shout out Brownsville.
But I'm really grateful that we get to create those dream spaces that have been stolen from us. And who knows what will happen afterwards as people go home from these offerings, what ripple effect that might have, not just in the artistic community, but in our community at large when we activate that type of dreaming.
Be yourself. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Here we go.